Our next example, the directions read, find the rate of change and y-intercept for each table of data representing a linear relationship between x and y. So let's go ahead and enlarge this and take a look at number 7. Okay, so remember, they've already told us it's a linear relationship. So when we put it in list and spreadsheet, we already know we're going to choose number 3, linear regression. They've given us that bit of information. Okay, this obviously is a problem about students and ticket sales because those are the columns, the names of the columns that we have. However, they've also named them X and Y. So when we go home and we press list and spreadsheet, we don't have to go ahead, we don't have to type in students for the A column and tickets for the Y column because they've also given us X. So I'm going to name the first column X and the second column Y. And now I'm going to put in my table. I'm going to input all of my X values first. So 20, enter, press 40, enter, press 60, enter. Now I'm going over to the top of the Y column. And I'm going to put in 150, enter, 250, enter, 350, enter. Okay, remember, we leave our cursor in a blank box. It's best to be in the habit of putting it underneath either the X or Y column. I like to use the Y column. You can choose whichever one you prefer. All right, but we're going to answer all these questions that we have here. All right, we're going to find M, we're going to find B, we're going to find the R squared, and then we're going to write the equation. Okay, so we press menu, stat calc, linear regression, because they told us in the problem it was a linear relationship. We named our X column X. We named our Y column Y. We don't need to change anything else, so we click OK. All right, I'm going to press the down arrow and the right arrow to move it over so that I can see everything. And over here on the left, I'm going to insert a text box here so that I can put my answers. There we go. I don't need a text box. All right, so my slope, my M. All right, let's see, what do I have here? Well, look, I have A, I have B, I have R squared, and I have R. What does that tell me? And if you look right here at regression equation, it has A plus BX. So what does that tell you? That tells me that when I was doing my stat calc, that I chose the wrong equation in the list. So let's try it again. So I'm going to press menu, stat calc, and number 3. Do you see the difference? Here is mx plus b, here is a plus bx. Okay, we'll talk about a plus bx a little later in the year. Right now, we're going to stick with the linear regression, mx plus b. All right, I named my x column x, my y column y. Then I click OK. Now I have the right variables. Those are the variables I'm looking for. So I can hit my arrow to move over so that I'm only looking at the ones that I need. So my M value is 5. That means my slope is 5. Okay, and if you want to write that as a fraction, you can do it as 5 over 1. You can also do it as negative 5 over negative 1, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it can be written either way. What's my y-intercept? Well, what does it say? It says my y-intercept is 50. Okay, and then what's my r squared value? Is 1. Remember, I'm checking to make sure that it is linear. So when I write the equation, and there should be an arrow right there, not an equal sign. So my equation is going to be f of x equals 5x. My 50 is positive, so plus 50. We move this box over so we can see the whole thing in one line. Okay, so 5x plus 50 would be the expression to the right of our equal sign. And so f of x equals, or you can write it as y equals, whichever way your teacher prefers, y equals 5x plus 50. Now, what does this mean? That's extremely important this year as you are interpreting tables. What does this mean? Okay, it means that what? The 5x, what does the 5 represent? It represents the slope. Okay, so remember, slope is the change of y over the change of x, right? So our ticket sales begin at 50. Is that right? Because that's our y-intercept. Our ticket sales begin at 50, and then it's ticket sales per student. So this means that our y, which is our ticket sales, our change in y is 5. Our change of x is 1. So that would be ticket sales, 5 ticket sales per 1 student. Does that make sense? So if I start at 50 and there's 20 students, that's why it's at 150, because 5 tickets for every student will give me 100. But I started with 50 already. So 100 plus the 50 gives me the 150. Okay, so we know that we began at 50. Oops, let's spell that correctly. So we're going to begin. I'm going to go ahead and abbreviate this. So we began at 50 in ticket sales. And I know that we sell, let me move this up so we can see our text box here. And I know that we sell 5 tickets per student. Okay? This is extremely important. When you are given a table, you need to be able to interpret the information, because they're going to give you scenarios based on tables and equations, and you need to be able to interpret those correctly. They're not going to be naked numbers. So we want to make sure that we understand slope is change of y over change of x. In this case, ticket sales over students. Our slope is 5, so 5 ticket sales per 1 student. That is our slope for the 5 over 1. And then our y-intercept is 50, so we're not starting from 0 with ticket sales. In this scenario, we have already sold 50 tickets. That is why our y-intercept is 50. Okay, our equation is y equals 5x plus 50, or f of x equals 5x plus 50. And all of this means that we begin at 50 on our ticket sales, and then it increases. Forgot that word. So as we're selling them, so our sale, we're selling 5 tickets per student, and our sales are increasing. And we can tell that the sales are increasing by looking at the chart, the table that we were given initially, going from 150 to 250 to 350. Okay, easy breezy, lemon squeezy, kind of greasy. Happy learning.